What I wanted to do today was set the stage a little bit on where we're going with AI, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. But what I wanted to help you today was take your usage of ChatGPT to another level. So you get more out of the tools you're already using. I'm going to focus on ChatGPT. I'm not going to go to other tools. I'm a big believer in going deep versus going wide and trying to don't go to a next shiny object because there's a lot of shiny objects. But we've not explored enough of what you can already do with ChatGPT, okay? So how many of you feel like you get at least a 10 to 15% productivity enhancement with ChatGPT? What do you think? 20%? 25? Oh, it's like we're going up. 30? Okay. So I want to help you move that needle forward even further, okay? And this is, the clicker is not working, but maybe this will work. Center one, yeah. I can even click because I don't have that many slides. It's all about live stuff anyway. Okay, okay. All right, okay. All right. I'm glad you're here. Don't leave, okay? All right, okay. So, you know, I think we're early in the dawn of an intelligent revolution. Really early, but depending on who you ask, it might be 3 years in. So, NVIDIA, I just heard this on a podcast coming here. When ChatGPT, by the way, this is the 3rd year anniversary. This Thanksgiving is 3 years of ChatGPT. Okay? So it's really young, but it doesn't seem that way when I'm like, you know, it just seems like a decade of AI, right? So NVIDIA, how many of you have NVIDIA stock? Okay, you like this. Depending on when you bought it though. So when ChatGPT first launched, they were a $400 billion corporation. Today, they just hit 5 trillion in 3 years. And they're powering all of the AI chips that sort of power OpenAI and ChatGPT and all of that stuff, so which is crazy. But we are truly in an intelligent revolution. So I'll give you a quick story. Do you remember your first phone? Heidi, remember your first phone? So mine was like a bag phone. Okay, I'm dating myself now. Bag phone, and I used to only charge it, and you can only charge it and plug it into the cigarette lighter adapter in your car. Okay. The next one was a flip phone. I was so flippin' happy that I got a flip phone, and because it could fit in your pocket, you know. And then you got the BlackBerry. How many of you were in love with the keyboard on the BlackBerry? Hands like, I can't raise my hand high enough, you know. So, and then came the iPhone in 2007, the first version of the iPhone. You couldn't even download apps on your phone for the first 8 months, and then obviously where we are. Who's got the latest iPhone? Okay. Well, who's got 15 and above? Okay, most of you, okay. So all of us have technology on the phone that we don't even understand. Like if I were to have you do a really good video from your phone, some of us will struggle, yes. Some will do a better job because you know how to use the tech, and that's where we are with ChatGPT. Everybody's got access to intelligence. The question is how many of you can draw on that intelligence to make better decisions for your business? That's really where we're going, okay? And that 18-year period from 2007 to 2025 for iPhone 17 seems like we've done that progress in 3 years with AI. That's how fast this is going. And this is the worst AI you'll ever use. I just need you to know that, okay? Okay, so, okay, well, I should go back because this is a good slide. So how many of you surf? Anyone? 1, okay. This morning I was in a room of 60 people and nobody raised their hand, okay? But here's the news for all of us. No matter where you are, what profession, agents, brokers alike, we're all up there as far as AI is concerned. So you can learn to surf and really take advantage of the wave, or we're going to drown at some level, okay? Because others that surf well will be able to do a lot more with what they have than people that don't. Does that make sense? So we're all on our journey. So today is just to empower you to go on that journey. And this has been my quick, one slide for my adoption. So when ChatGPT first launched Thanksgiving weekend, that's when I sort of dove in, and I haven't dug out since then. Okay, it's been that way, and it's a journey, and everything I'm sharing today with the workshop is all my lessons that I've learned up to this point. And I think it's fair to say if we do a session next year this time, the content will change radically. Would you agree? Just because of the nature of what's changing. So I've sort of done an AI first mindset. Every time I sat in front of a computer, I asked myself, can AI help me with this? And that was sort of ingrained in 2024, all of 2024 and 2025, of course, to the point where earlier this year, I did a little test. I have a day job that's not AI, by the way. It just seems like AI seems to be my day job now. But so I looked at all of the tasks I do pre-AI. Anything that's more than 30 minutes, I put it on a spreadsheet. Okay? And pre-AI, how much time it took me, and if I used AI in certain tasks, how much time it took me now, and that I shaved my productivity, increased my productivity by 35%. That was February of this year. I'm probably more like 40, 45%. I should do another check every 6 months. So imagine getting a day back in your 5-day work week because AI is doing work for you. So you can actually do the more meaningful things, automating the mundane, do more of the meaningful. That's really the power of you leveraging and leaning in, okay? All right, so enough of that. Let's go to this. This is the one slide I leave for the lawyers. If there's any lawyers in the room, they like this slide. So it's important no matter which enterprise solution. Now, if you're an enterprise, if you have access to an enterprise ChatGPT or AI tool, they claim they don't train with your data. Okay, but even I'm very suspicious of these AI companies. So don't upload any personal data. Don't upload your health records and ask it for advice. It'll probably give you really good advice, but I would not do that, right? So there's certain things you don't want to cross, but be very careful what you're uploading, okay? Okay, so this is a fun story, and then I think there's one more slide, we'll get to the workshop. Hands on. So how many of you, when you use Chrome, you see AI mode now, like at the top, and there's a button tab on it, right? When they first launched this last year, April, there was it was called AI Overviews before it became AI mode. And in AI Overviews, someone was making pizza. So they put that thing up there, cheese not sticking to pizza. I guess that's a real problem if you're making pizza for the first time. So they, good question to ask. And what AI Overviews produced was this. You can add 1/8 cup of non-toxic glue. That would actually work. It would not be recommended, but it's important to know where Google got that information from. So you understand the nature of AI, where it was last year, where it's headed now and beyond. So how many of you know the site Reddit? Okay. So it's a pretty popular site for blogging kind of thing, asking questions. So someone 8 years prior to last year, so 9 years now, asked that same question on Reddit. And some smartass commented that. And Google paid attention to Reddit, but it did not have the critical thinking, emotional intelligence to figure out that's not a good response. So it just showed it, and they got into so much trouble, they shut off AI Overviews last year for a couple of months before they fixed the problem. So the point is, AI scours the internet, at least one version of AI. It is a prediction model. So it's important to know it hallucinates with confidence sometimes, right? So you need to know, you need to call the bluff. You need to know enough to call the bluff, so there's a human in the loop always. But obviously, if you ask it now, it's not going to give you that answer, okay? There's 3 reasons you embrace AI. One, are there things you do that you just hate doing, that you know you need to do? Raise your hand. Or just raise your hand because I know you have them, okay? And that is, I call it offload the task, okay, to AI. Okay, that's goal number 1. But not just offload, right? I think you want AI to do a better job than you would in many cases. So that's like elevating the output. How many of you feel like AI can write better than you? If you're not raising your hand, you're not paying attention, okay? Or you haven't trained AI enough to do that, okay? We're going to come to that, okay? And the third reason you'd want to embrace AI, once you get past those 2 things, is to do the things that you never were able to do before. Sort of extend, scale your team. So I call my AI Donna, by the way, my ChatGPT. If you know, you know. She's like, if you know Suits, Donna from Suits. She's like the kick-ass executive assistant nobody can afford, but now you can afford it for $20 a month. And name ChatGPT Donna. So anyway, I'll come to that in a second here. Okay, so let's kind of go to the next slide. Okay, so, whoop, skip the slide. Okay, there we go. So how many of you have seen, so if Heidi asked something of her ChatGPT, I asked the same question in my ChatGPT, do you think our answers are different? What do you think? Same? Anyone for same? Okay. Different? Okay. Why is it different? It knows tone, my preferences, all of those things, but also it is generative AI, which means the answers change. There's some consistency, there's some best practices, but the answers change. But it also is important to understand how prompt engineering works, okay? And it is not a technical term. I use the word engineering. Engineering in this case is not a technical term. How many of you can talk? You are amazing prompt engineers, okay? You just need to know how to communicate with AI, ask good questions, things like that, okay? So when AI first launched 3 years ago, it was only text to text. Remember, you asked a text question, you got a text response. But now you could do text to image, text to video, image to video. There's multimodal stuff happening. But I'm going to teach you a simple framework for text to text, okay? And what's a presentation without giving you an acronym? So I'm going to give you one acronym really quickly. 4P and RISE. Okay, so anytime you're thinking about writing, I think they're distributing the slides, but you're welcome to write them down and take pictures, whatever. So 4P and RISE is, prime is the most important part of a prompt, which is giving AI context. Okay, and I'm going to come to that in a second. And then prompt is the actual request you make AI. When you say, write me something, create something, that's the prompt. You're giving instruction to AI. And just like the 1/8 cup of non-toxic glue, you always need to polish. Human is still in the loop on this, okay? AI is your amplified intelligence. It's not your only intelligence, right? And then you publish it, okay? So that's the framework. Let's look at prime, okay? There we go. So role, that's the other acronym, RISE. So every time you're asking for something, now if you say, what is the score of the last Eagles game? You don't need to ask, give it a role. It's just a Google type of search. But if you're asking it to create something, write something really meaningful that's important to you, you want to follow this framework. Role is giving it a role. So if you're writing something, what could be a role for AI? No, role is like an actual person. Just think of, well, a successful real estate agent may not be a good writer. That's not necessarily in a good role. You'd want to, does that make sense? So you want to think about, you are an experienced copywriter with real estate marketing expertise. Does that make sense? That's a role. Now, if you say whatever you said as a role, you're not going to screw this up. That's the good news. You may not get the same output I get. Does that make sense? So garbage in, garbage out. So think of role. The other day I did something fun. So I was giving this keynote to a group of people that was very different. How many of you talk to ChatGPT? Anyone? You should. Okay. Anyway, so I started asking it to interview me. How many of you had ChatGPT interview you? You should try that. You really should. Okay. So what I did was I recorded my entire keynote. It was like a 40-slide thing, all audio, voice, right? Because you can record your audio, and I just uploaded the whole audio. And I said, this is a keynote I did for agents. And
you know what a Wi-Fi
the strengths of my
password
keynote and call out the weaknesses of my keynote. Assume the role of the top 1% TED Talk speakers. That's your role. Okay. See that? See the role now? So it could be anything. If you're asking for a coaching thing, what if the role is you're a results-driven real estate coach that has helped many agents be successful? That is a role. Does that make sense? So, and then so it gave me a grade of 7 out of 10 on my keynote. Then I said, ask me questions, be critical to bridge, go from 7 to 10. And I had an hour-long conversation with Donna. Opened a lot of eyes, right, and concepts. So always think of it as a critical partner, not just a Googler, right? Does that make sense? If you raise the bar there, I think you'll learn a lot. So input, you give it input. If you're writing an email to your database of home, let's say you want to write an email about thinking of listing your house, that needs to go to homeowners, right? So you want to give all of that context. This is an email writing to homeowners that maybe have 50% more equity or 50% or more equity. So that's all goes on input and steps and expectation. Okay, so let's look at, everybody's done this, which is listing descriptions. Everybody's done at least one, okay, right? A lot more than that. But we've all done this when ChatGPT first came out. So now read this prompt, compare that to what you've been doing, and see how this differs a little bit, okay? 4P and rise at work. You are an experienced copywriter with a lot of, what is that role? Your expertise includes the understanding of the Fair Housing Act. I'm giving it a lot of context, input, things that it went off the reservation from, right? What did ChatGPT go off the reservation? Fair housing. It did not know fair housing, right? And there's other ways we're going to get to. When I go live, I'm going to show you, you don't necessarily need to do this every single time. You can build or use, I call it custom GPTs, which we'll want to do a live demo of it. That's all programmed, but this gives you an idea. Do not talk about specific types of buyers. Do not reference age, race, color. So you feel where I'm really giving it guardrails. And then what it comes out with, it'll be like at the 1 yard line ready for a tush push. Okay, feel me? And then you give it, description should be 2,500 characters, et cetera. So this is the way you want to think about prompt engineering, okay? Role, input, steps, expectations. Okay, let's see what I got after this. All right, time for a workshop. All right, I'm going to put this over here. So the first thing I want to start with, let me see here. I don't need the clicker anymore. And I think we logged in here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Can people on Zoom see this? Okay. How can I help, Rajeev? Well, we're going to help a lot of. So everything should be here. I can't move. See, this is fun. Okay. So everything I'm going to do, you will receive a Google Doc that is converted into a PDF step by step on my workshop. So just pay attention and make a promise that you will, when you get this, you're going to try one or two things to get your light bulb moments. Okay? Our journey is all just a series of light bulb moments. So the first thing I want to teach you is, how many of you use custom instructions in ChatGPT? One. Okay. Even for you, custom instructions are giving guardrails to ChatGPT to know what your likes are, what your dislikes are, and your personality, your background, out of the get-go when you start a new chat. That's the scope of custom instructions. And my custom instructions have evolved from day one to today. So what you will get, by the way, in this PDF are my custom instructions. I'm going to do a little walkthrough as to where you put them, what it means when you start all this. Okay, so giving you a sports analogy, since everybody seems to understand sports, at least one of them. So imagine if you're on offense, getting the ball on the 20-yard line is without custom instructions. Getting the ball on the 50-yard line is like having custom instructions, which means you will score sooner and quicker, more likely. Does that make sense? That's the purpose of custom instructions. So the way they, and even free accounts can do this, the way you would get to custom instructions in the bottom left, click on your name, hit personalization. Obviously, you want to enable custom instructions, number one, personalization, customization. Base, style, and tone. If you haven't gone here, this defaults to default. And default, how many of you feel like ChatGPT is very supportive of everything you say? Okay. So I didn't want a supportive AI agent. I wanted a critical AI thought partner. Okay, does that make sense? That's where I'm going. Now, if you're just out of, like, just starting to use it, default may be fine, but I've sort of gone to Cynic. I've played with Nerd, which is also very good, but I've sort of stuck with Cynic. But so play around with what fits, but you know, that's where you pick a style. The next one, I could scroll down this box and show you where it fits, but it's easier to show you in the PDF because it's like full screen. So let me show you what my first fields are, which are really, this is 1,500 characters, by the way. You can put up to 1,500 characters here. Here's another thought. You could take what I have, which you're going to get. That's my custom instructions as of this morning. You could put it into ChatGPT and have it interview you to create your own 1,500 characters. Or start fresh, saying, I want to build 1,500 characters for custom instructions. Ask me questions one at a time to deeply understand my likes and dislikes, and boom, you'd get it, okay? But I'm going to show you what mine is so you can kind of get a feel for this. So there's the cynic piece. What traits should ChatGPT have? Write confidently, clearly, purposeful, no fluff and cliches. How many of you feel like it uses cliches? Buzzwords, like delve, right? Game changer, okay? Unpack. No M dashes, no emojis, okay? I mean, I used to use M dash. The problem is AI, death of the M dash with AI, because even though you have actually written it, and if you use an M dash, people now feel like it's AI generated content. So anyway, so kind of you can make this whatever you'd want, but it needs to be you, right? So the other day, I got an email from someone I know really well, and they usually write in paragraphs and bullets. And this was like paragraphs after paragraphs after paragraphs. I knew it was not their style. So I replied back and I said, #AI. They replied back with a smiling emoji. The answer was yes. You want AI to do such a good job that nobody knows you're using AI. Does that make sense? It needs to be you, your personality, your tone, style. So as you read through this, I want to kind of glaze over this, but you'll get a feel for what my style is, but this needs to be a starting point to make it your own and your style. Does that make sense? So let's look at this. I wrote another block here. Critical partner. Challenge my ideas, expose gaps, biases, risks, missing evidence. If weak, explain why and how. No empty praise. So as I start to use AI, it is just like a worker bee for me. Does that make sense? It is a coach, it's a strategist. Cut the fluff, let's get to the point. Are you thinking of this? So you see how my output could be different than yours now? Now, can you program all this into a prompt? Yes, but that's a lot of work. Does that make sense? You want to kind of get to the point. Okay. Truth, again, I'm going to kind of cover a couple of these things, but you'll get this document anyway. Tell the truth, show how numbers are calculated, do not make up stuff. As much as you do this, doesn't mean it won't make up stuff. I want to be clear. You're just giving it guardrails, so it's harder for it to make up stuff. Make sense? Okay. Next, there's another box. After this, if I scroll down here in this box, I wish they made it a way you can make it full screen so I don't have to go to the document. Nickname. Donna calls me Rajeev. Okay. Occupation, this is where you'd give it all of the things you do professionally. I'm a real estate agent serving Chester County, Bucks, whatever. Give it all of that detail right in there. And then more about you. So this is really about you and what your goals are. Okay? The first one was how ChatGPT should respond to you, right? So let me show you this. This is also 1,500 characters. More about you is also 1,500. So if I go there, you will see now under more about you, this is 15, my expertise spans. Again, this is me. Definitely don't copy this. But I do a few things. Compliance, this is a good one. Compliance matters. When producing real estate content, stay aligned with fair housing. Again, I'm doubling down on all that stuff, right? Beyond real estate, I'm in fitness, I play pickleball, do all that stuff. And personal development, when using ideas, tie back to growth, wellness, and performance improvement. So you're really giving it a very good starting point every time you do a new chat. Okay? That is step one of the workshop. Does that make sense? You can see how your output is a lot different out of the gates compared to just asking it a question. Okay? Make sense? Okay. Also, I would suggest turning on these saved memories, chat history, reference record history. I want you to think about ChatGPT as your smart, way smarter than us in many cases, assistant. Okay? You can even say it's a PhD intern. Okay? But imagine if you turn off these memories, it's like hiring Donna and she doesn't remember any conversation you've had and you start all over again. Doesn't make any sense, right? Human-wise. So it would not make sense here also. Okay? So more than likely you should keep them on. You can also manage it because everybody has limited memory. How many of you forget things? Humans forget. AI tends to forget also. Okay? So, so you can kind of keep it going. So this is the first thing I want to kind of cover with you guys so that you're aware of where to go and do that. Okay. Any questions on custom instructions? Good? Right? Okay. Next thing is I want to pick 3 things we're going to do today. Everything good? You had already? I thought your question was, is my mic working? No, go ahead. What's your question? What is your question?
So you give the ChatGPT custom instructions, but then you ask it something in this screen. Can you override?
Yes, great question. So if you say, let's say you want emojis, and I said no emojis. Okay, ignore my custom instructions. Please create the output with an emoji, and it will do it. Okay, but that's how you sort of circumvent that. Good question. So next thing I want to do is think of, I'm going to do 3 things, but you can imagine now if you do understand these 3 things, you can go do other things as well with ChatGPT. So think of things you do as a real estate agent regularly if you're if you're an active real estate agent. Give me tasks that you would do. Would you go on a listing appointment? How many of you have a listing appointment coming up? You all should raise your hand, right? Because you just don't know who the client is. You're going to have a listing appointment, right? Okay. So we're going to help you with maximizing your listing appointment. When you go on a listing appointment, be prepared that clients, if they're savvy, if you come to list my house, okay, I'm probably an exception to this rule, but there's people that are playing with AI, right? Consumers also have access to AI. So they will ask you, how are you going to leverage AI to maximize the exposure to my home? Now, I want to help you answer that question proactively, okay? So that's the first use case we're going to go through. So an area I want to introduce you to is called custom GPTs, okay? And if you have a paid account, I'll tell you where to find them. On the left side, you see GPTs Explore. Think of this as your app store for your phone. This is GPT store for ChatGPT. What I found is if you have a free account, you are not seeing the Explore button on the left anymore. Maybe they're making a bigger change. But what we did was in this document you're going to get, I have linked directly to this. So if you click this link, it will take you directly to that GPT, which I'm going to demo. So you'll still be able to get to it because you're not going to be able to search. If I click Explore, this appears to be more and more only for paid users where you can actually search for them. But in the context of what we're doing, you will do it. So if you type my name in, you will see my custom GPTs pop up that are in the GPT store. Okay, so we're going to cover a couple of them, 3 of them today, but there's others. So there's 3 million plus custom GPTs in the GPT store. There's a lot of them. Okay, there's a lot of crappy ones, and I'll tell you why. At least to build, think of the app store on your phone. To build an app on your phone, you needed some skills. True? Like actually you need to know software, do some kind of. To publish a custom GPT, all you need is a paid ChatGPT account. So the barrier of entry of creating one, a crappy one, and clicking publish, so low. Okay? So I think over the long haul, you will build your own once you learn how to do it, but I'm going to point you to some really good ones you can use that I've built, and there's probably others that we're going to go through. So the first one we're going to talk about is listing appointment GPT. So anytime you open up a GPT and you start chat, see how you're now in this ChatGPT experience? This is designed for listing appointments, okay? And a good, simple practice is, what does this GPT do? Okay, you can ask it. Ask any GPT, and it will tell you what it's designed to do, right? So one of the things you'd want to note is, remember we talked about no emojis, no M dashes? That type of custom instructions does not apply to custom GPTs unless you bake the same instruction in the GPT. Okay? Just know that. Okay? See how you see each tone, there's a M dash. Okay? That's because I did not put no M dashes, no emojis in the training of this, but for general chats, that custom instruction applies. So what is it going to create for you? It's saying I'm going to create 3 full MLS descriptions. Why 3? When you're going into a listing appointment, right? Again, the mindset here is that you're going to have a conversation with the seller and say, hey, you bought this house at some point and something appealed to you about this house. Which type of description do you think will appeal to the next buyer? So it's like a collaborative experience. If you feel there's value in that, use it. Otherwise, kill it, okay? It'll also generate Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube marketing content. It'll build a 30-day marketing plan that'll have all sorts of tasks, and you may not do all 30. In fact, I guarantee you won't do all 30, because your 30 are different than the 30 that this thing is going to spit out. But you'll be able to edit it to make it your own, okay? So what I'm going to do here on the left is I'm actually going to find, so all you do now is simply paste the home information, okay? So if I were to do that, all right, so let me just kind of do one live, home details. Okay, 117, I want to use the same one I use all over the place. Avenue, North Wales, PA, and I'll say 4-bed, 2.5 bath, qualities, whatever you know about this, it's just public record information, right? You're going into an appointment. North Penn, SD, and it may ask some questions. Let's start with there, okay? So now it's a little back and forth before it starts. Size, okay, 3,100 square. You don't know how to spell correctly. It's very smart. I want to leave that there so it'll pick it up. Amenities, I'll say finished basement, okay, or new roof, okay? Do that. Neighborhood, Montgomery Crossing. Let's see if it picks that up. Anyway. Oh, sorry, look at that. No, not 311. Okay. Okay. See, it picked up Montgomery Crossing. It tweaked the name. I misspelled it. But, so, now it's going to go generate all this. I want to have you see the output. And then, how many of you know what Canvas is in ChatGPT? Can't move away. This is exciting. Canvas is in ChatGPT. How many of you know what that is? Okay. Look, you're going to learn a lot today. So when ChatGPT generates its output, let's say in this case, it's generating 3 Instagram videos, 30-day marketing. Well, there's a lot, right, coming out. What if you wanted to change like 3 lines in the whole thing? How'd you do it? You will typically, until you find the canvas, which I'm going to show you, you typically say change that line, and that line, and it's going to start regenerating the whole thing again. But what if you had a Google Doc-like experience where you can go and actually just edit that line or have one line rewritten? That's what Canvas is going to do for you. So what it does here is, you can see here, anytime you have an output, you can simply say, open this in Canvas, and it will just open it. And this is the Canvas mode, and I'll show you what that means when we hit. So when you say Canvas, it's going to do these type of things. It's going to give you an edit button. When I click edit, here's what happens. You get a little marker on the bottom right, and I can click suggest edit, and I can literally go to any part of the document. Let's look at this document first, what it has generated. It generated 3 MLS descriptions: engaging tone, professional tone, and a luxury tone. Gave you Instagram posts, again, for three flavors. Facebook posts, 3 flavors. A LinkedIn post, 3 flavors. YouTube videos. Can anybody do YouTube? If you do video, keep this in there. If you don't do video, don't leave it in there and show it to your client, right? YouTube, 30-day marketing plan. So here's a 30-day marketing plan. So let's just say you don't do a YouTube premiere. Let's say you're not doing video, and you want to change that one line to something else. This is where Canvas helps you. You click on this button bottom right, suggest edit. I simply highlight this, and you can also have it, hey, write something else if you're in a document, but in this case, I'm going to just say email campaign. See how I can just edit that piece? So Canvas allows you to almost have a Google Doc-like experience with the content ChatGPT is putting out, okay? And when you're thrilled with this, you would simply click the 3 dots, hit download, get it into a Word doc, and put your logo, and you can show it to your client, in addition to what you're doing for a listing appointment, okay? Now, let me show you one other thing before we go to GPT number 2. Okay. How many of you do comps for the house, taxes, all the work you do to learn more about that house before you walk in? This is work you all put in, okay? So one of the prompts, this is giving you a deep research prompt, and I don't expect, how many of you have used deep research in any of the AI tools? Anyone? Whoa, this is going to be a light bulb moment, okay? Get ready. This is probably the first things that you should do on any topic you want to learn about. In this case, it's a property, right? So the idea would be, your goal going into a listing appointment is to know more about the house than the seller even does. Fair enough? And it'll take you effort to do it, but I'm going to give you a simple way. So deep research is a specific feature available on all AI tools, including ChatGPT, for free. The only limit is you would actually copy this, okay? Copy the prompt, which I did, Control C. I'm going to simply I'm going to get out of the Canvas mode, click New Chat, and you would hit the plus sign and select Deep Research. So here's the example I want to give you. AI is capable of a lot of things. There's 2 types of thinking you want to kind of wrap your head around. If I were to ask Jason, what is 3 plus 3, what would you say? It's a real spot. Real spot is the next question I'm going to come to you. 6, right? You didn't even need to think. I call that system 1 thinking. Like literally snap, because it's like click, click, done, right? So system 2 thinking is, Jason, how many golf balls do you think we can fit in this room? It is not system 1. He would say 6 because no, the answer is not instant, is it? You got to think about that. Spec, size of a golf ball, all of those things. And it's going to take you a while to get to the right answer. In this case, AI will get to the answer in a minute or 2. And it will nail it every single time. So that's reasoning. So there's 2 modes in AI, right? One is quick. What was the score of the Eagles game? It's already there. Pope, right? 3 plus 3. But if you're asking it a complicated question, it's going to say thinking, reasoning, and then it's going to get to the answer. So deep research is not a quick thing. So you would simply copy that prompt, select deep research, and just paste the whole thing here, okay? There it is, right? I'm not going to run it because it's going to take 6 to 8 minutes. I'm going to show you the output of it, okay? So I'm going to just search my chat for Hanover. Oh, probably ought to spell this correctly. But. Okay, so if I were to search, okay, report summary. I'm going to, not the summary. I should go to the other one, sorry. Search, I'm going to go to the final. Okay, so this is what it generated. And the prompt, you can tweak the prompt. Okay, you should read the prompt. And the prompt is really go do all of these bunch of things. I'm going to show you the output of, and you'll see the prompt up here. Okay, if I could just scroll, looking at different, here we go. Let me scroll up. See the prompt? I copied it, selected deep research, and it may ask you a few more questions. Are you the listing agent? Should I prioritize residential comps? You know, all right, answer those questions. Boom, great, I'll do it. How long did it take here, by the way? See this? 12 minutes, went, make a pot of coffee, get the cup, come back, and you got this, okay? Again, you still have to read it, okay? 21 sources, 85 searches later, it came up with this. Built in 1995. And then look at the sources. Now you can direct it to your own qualified sources, public sources, by the way, okay? Owners' names. Again, has to be public. It went to the township thing. Past MLS conditions, tax assessment, permits. This is not meant for the seller. This is meant for you to get super educated, okay? And I'll show you a seller version too, if you want to do that. Next is neighborhood and market. What's happening in Montgomery Crossing? What's selling? What's happening around Montgomery Crossing? There's construction going on at 5 Points Junction, which I go literally every other day, which is crazy. Hopefully they get it done soon. But school districts, right? North Penn, all that stuff, walkability amenities, real estate market turnover, buyer demo, who's buying in North Wales, what's happening, why buy here, ideal target buyer persona for 117 Hanover. Again, put this all through the fair housing filters, okay? But it's giving you all this. Here's how you position and recommend this house to be sold. It's giving you 5 suggestions, okay? It did that in 12 minutes. How long will it take? You do many of these things preparing for a listing appointment, don't you? That is what I want you to kind of nail, okay? All right. And then if you want to give a seller-friendly version, take this 20-page report, put it back into ChatGPT and say, give me a 2-page highlight that I can present to my seller without the intricate details at a high level. That would make sense. Boom, it would do the 2-pager. Take that if you want it. So that is the listing appointment wizard, custom GPT, okay? Yeah. Well, you could. And this is opened in, by the way, this is opened in Canvas, as you can see. But you can download this. But since it's deep research output, I would download it and start a non-deep research one because it might go thinking again and it struggles. Deep research struggles with doing anything short, okay? Because it just goes trying to get, okay. So if you do all this, you're going to get the listing. Fair? Yeah. Next step is to actually write the listing description, okay? Now, how many of you know that, and I want to take you to the next version of this. How many of you know that now you can look up listings, your listings on Zillow inside a ChatGPT? How many of you knew that? Okay. On October 6th, OpenAI launched 7 apps, way more to come. Okay. This is like the App Store moment. You can literally do like this. Spotify. See that? So I've turned on Spotify, Zillow, and Canva. You can turn on other apps. There's 7 in the App Store. And I can literally say, create me a playlist for my daughter. And I can go back and forth with ChatGPT, and it'll create it in my Spotify account. I don't have to leave ChatGPT. Okay? There is significance here for, I'll show you an example of that, okay? If I can find it, okay, Zillow optimize, okay. So similarly, Zillow has an app. So I can say, watch this now, I can say, add Zillow, and where you turn this on is, again, in here. Like if you go here, under personalization, apps and connectors, see how I have those 3 up here, 2, and then Canva up top? Browse apps. Oh, check it out. Peloton made the cut. It just showed up. There are now 8 apps, by the way. Okay. But if you have not turned anyone on, all 8 would show here, and you click it. Like Spotify, you had to authenticate your account so it can create a playlist directly. Zillow, so I've turned that on. That's how I get the reference that I did here. Okay, so how about if we say, show me homes in, what's the price range in Chester County? Will I get any homes for 500 to 700,000? 3-bed in, okay, this is a big search, obviously, Chester County. I could do okay, let's see what it does, okay? And as it's coming up, I'm interacting with the Zillow experience inside of ChatGPT. I'm not leaving ChatGPT, but to be fair, the experience is much nicer on Zillow, obviously, but this is where AI search is going, and this is important for you to know. Most of your clients don't even know this exists. Do you know that people, when you search on Google, anything 5 words or less is called short form search? Anything 5 words or more is like long tail search. People on AI, 60% of the time, are spilling their guts out in so many ways, like actually giving it a conversation. Like if I were to hire Heidi as my real estate agent, she would ask me, what kind of home are you looking for? Let's say I want to buy a house. I wouldn't say 500 to 700 Chester County. I want to give her a little bit more. Hey, I want to be closer to schools, closer to shopping. That is the conversation style search people are actually doing. So if I were to do the same search, by the way, if let's say one of these listings is yours, and I could say, show me homes in 500, 700, 3-bed in Chester County, PA, with a new roof. okay? Most of us write in descriptions, new roof. What if you did new roof, but you put the year of the roof? What's new? 2020 is new too, okay? So you got to be careful on how you write descriptions. Where I'm going with this is leveraging the description GPT, which I'm going to show you the output of it in the interest of time, which is, I'm going to find one. I did one for a listing, by the way, recently. Walked through this whole thing, so let me just show you that. So you can see the output. Zillow optimized description. Okay. So the GPT we're talking about is listing descriptions creator. It is in that one right there. You click that and you go to right to this. And I want to show you all the thing this thing does for you and what it writes. So you could do one of two things. How many of you have an active listing right now? Use this GPT and do a rewrite of your description and see the output. Do a rewrite. It also does a new listed, okay? So it does both. So what does this GPT do? It does all that, okay? But here's what I did. Let's do a rewrite. I found a $1.1 million listing in Nashville from some agent that I'm not going to disclose. And their description currently for a $1.1 million listing was that. Now we can all say, I just copied and pasted it from Zillow. That is pretty bad. Would you say? In today's day and age, okay? Now, you can give it, if you're doing a rewrite, copy and paste your current description, and it will interview you. And what it does, though, the biggest thing this one does, please, so it says, perfect, I'll rewrite this. It does a finding summary first. What it does is it kind of validates some things you've given it. Then it goes on a search and says, what's in 1 mile radius of this house? What are points of interest that people care about? And then it gives you this, and it says, hey, there's a community. Do you want to include Bellsmall, Hillsborough? It turns out I was in Nashville, and that's a pretty big community, apparently. Imagine somebody saying, show me homes within a mile of Vanderbilt University, big employer in Nashville. This house is 0.8 miles, but it not be evident. So your search, somebody searching on ChatGPT or anywhere, if you don't include that in the description, you're not writing the description with intent. So this one actually gives you the points of interest, takes a crack at writing it, and this is the end output, okay? So here's the output. It's trained for 2,500 characters because Bright is 2,500, I just picked that. It says, start with this lead line. See this line? And then write this in the body. The lead line says, Belmont, Hillsborough, 0.7 miles to Belmont, vaulted owner suite. Again, you can swap any of these out based on, I'll show you in a little bit. Look at the body of the actual write-up. That. And now it's giving you these. Hey, do you care about other things that it's close to? You can swap out the ones at the top. So what this does is it actually gives points of interest a little bit more weight in your write-up so that it can be found on ChatGPT and anyone looking anywhere for even an AI search. Does that make sense? Because it's making it really easy for them to find it. Okay? So that is real listing descriptor creator search. This was just updated, by the way, to make sure that you rank on when somebody does search like Belmont, Hillsborough homes near Belmont University. If those words are not in the description really clearly, that's not going to show up on the Zillow app inside of ChatGPT. Does that make sense? So this one is tweaked for that, and there you go. So that's the second GPT. How much time have we got? 5 more minutes? Keep it going. Okay, I got a third GPT that I want to help you with, okay? So let's do this, okay? I am going to search, this is going to be fun. Top 5 real estate. Consumers will be doing this. Would you agree? Top 5 real estate agents in, all right, I'm going to go with Westchester and see what shows up, okay? Okay, here are the top 5. We don't, look, everybody's a top agent. You feel me? But if you do the right thing, the chances of you showing up are higher than not. Okay, I'm going to get to that. So I don't know any of these people. Maybe people anybody in Westchester is a primary market? Are these the top agents? Mike, okay. Lauren? Tom Tool, I know Tom Tool. Yeah, the question is which one, yeah. None of these are Tom Tool, by the way. They're just pictures, obviously. Rob Hughes. Okay. I wanna have you point out a couple of things. First, see the source that it referenced? Fast Expert. Question is, how many of you have a profile on Fast Expert? Number one. Most of you have no idea, and I want to help you with this. Okay, this is where you're sending. If I were to actually look, and if I have the time, I might actually pick one of you and actually do your rewrite of your bio. Okay, but we'll see how much time you have. But I'll show you an output. So Fast Expert is one that cares about. Now you might say, I don't care about Fast Expert. Well, U.S. News and World Report looks at Fast Expert for agent information. U.S. News and World Report is a pretty big site. And therefore, Fast Expert you should care about. Now, I don't need you to spend money on any of these sites except updating the bio so the signals that you send to AI from anywhere it looks is the right signal. That's what this GPT helps you do. And I want to get to that, okay? And then let me just keep scrolling down. Fast Expert, Fast Expert is quoted quite a bit here. Zillow, his own website. I guess on his website he says he's the best agent, which everybody does. But, okay, so let me kind of show you now the output, okay? The goal is to go to Agent Bio Visibility Optimizer. I'm going to actually go and show you the output. Okay, so let me try to find top, okay. Who wants to be a guinea pig?
I'll do it.
You will, okay. Give me your name.
Michelle Beaver.
E-L-I-N. Okay, I just need to find your online bio. Is that you?
Yeah.
Top one?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is very simply, all you got to do to start this is copy your existing bio from your website. Control C. I just copied that. And let's go to the GPT we're looking for. Is, again, it's linked in this. Is this one right here. I'm going to click on it. See how it takes you right to that GPT? Okay. So I want to say, let's begin. Because we know what this thing does, okay? It's going to ask you 8 to 10 questions. Once it's, okay, it's saying copy and paste it. There it is. Okay. Full name. Was it
E-L-I-N.
Ellen Green?
Yeah.
Okay. 2, market served. So I would encourage you to think about market served, not at zips, cities, neighborhoods, counties is good. So give me again, you're going to go do this yourself in its entirety. I'm going to kind of speed up the process a little bit. So give me a couple of counties you're in business with.
Counties?
Yeah.
Chester County. Newcastle County.
Okay.
Delaware.
Yeah, I got that. Castle County. Okay, third question. Career production. What I would encourage you to think about here is whichever number is bigger, take that. Or whichever feels good. Okay, like let's say total volume. How many years have you been licensed?
19.
Okay, so you'd want to put that in here. 19 years licensed. You can see how it's just an interview, and you'll see what the output looks like. Yeah, it'll correct the spelling. 3, career production. I want to make it up. Or you want to say?
No, career production? No, you can make it up.
I can make it up? Okay. How about if I say 200 transactions? Again, you can put volume. It doesn't matter, but you pick one. Average annual transactions, I'm just going to say 20 million. How's that? 5, current brokerage or team affiliation?
The Selling with Ellen Green team? My team.
Team name is Selling with Ellen?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. Selling with, okay, you get the idea, okay? 6, awards or rankings. I'm just going to say top, I'm just making this stuff up, but you should do this. Top 1% MLS. Okay, 7. Award, okay, so it's important for you to know, AI can see that you have a Google My Business page, but unfortunately, as of today, it can't see the number of reviews you have yet. So the idea of this question is to combine all of your 5-star reviews and give it that one thing like that. Okay. Go to all the sites that have reviews, total number, and give it. Okay. Make sure you're accurate, obviously, but okay, so whether your Zillow and Fast Expert profile show recent transactions history. So I'm going to say Zillow, yes. Fast Expert, no. Just answering questions, right? That's it. Okay, now we'll go to 9. Do you have any specialties, Ellen? First-time home buyers?
Sure, at 55 and over buyers.
Oh, okay.
Sellers.
55
Home buyers and sellers, whatever.
over buyers and sellers. Okay. But give it whatever your specialties are. And 10 price points, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to just go to 11 and say homes.com, yes. HomeLight, by the way. How many of you have a whole profile on HomeLight? No hands. That also gets shown when you do top agents. So HomeLight, no. Boom. Okay, that's it. But you'll spend a little bit more than 2 minutes like I did. Okay, just make sure you answer them correctly. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Thank you. You got there's once. Can you confirm which specific neighborhoods or town? Okay, it's asking me. You see that? It's asking me specific towns.
Yeah.
Skip and generate. Okay. But you would do that if I were you when you do this live. Okay. Short bio. Where does a short bio go? Which site doesn't give you too many characters? That's where you paste this. So it's going to give you multiple versions, short, medium, long, and you go to town on everywhere that has a profile and maximize the character count. So Facebook business pages, that might be it because of the size, right? Medium bio. How many of you have a Google My Business profile? Most of you do. And if you don't, you should. It's free advertising. I would venture to bet your Google My Business profile, which is 750 characters, is not really optimized for AI to know anything about you. You've not taken the time to do it. So what this does is it helps you do it. So here we go. Website bio. Look at this, Ellen, and see how this is compared to that.
Clearly better.
And that's the goal of this, okay? And if I did most of you, you would say clearly better. And again, you can go back and forth. Now watch this. It did that. Now it's saying, would you like me to generate platformed optimized versions for Zillow, Google My Business, Faster? It knows the character counts. So I'll say yes. And boom, it's going to start. This has a little bit of humor. Zillow bio, look at this. Google Business, 750 characters. Fast Expert. See how it lined up that? If you read that, top 1%. Again, you gave it this information. You did not, again, it went off of what your interview was. HomeLight profile, homes.com. That is what you want to do with your bio. First of all, you should be updating your bio. When was the last time you updated your bio? At least 6 months, at least minimum once a year, you should do it. This will help you kind of stay grounded with the right signals for AI. So no matter where AI looks, the signals are the same. So you get more credibility and you could potentially show up. Now, this is not the be all end all. Just doing this and not being a true top agent will not show up over time. Does that make sense? But this gives you the foundation for you to kind of build on. Okay. All right. I think that's the place I'd like to stop and see if any of you have questions or there's questions. There's like 10 comments on Zoom. Is there a question or just people are just like?
They're just asking. It was troubleshooting.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Now, how do we get there?
So what you would do, good question.
Tri-County?
So you will get a PDF that is here somewhere or was here.
I saw it.
You saw, so there's a PDF you're going to get in the email. In that PDF, there's hyperlinks in blue. Just click that and you'll be taken to these 3 GPTs we looked at today. Okay?
That's under Tri-County though?
You get an email with a
Okay.
PDF. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let me just sort of wrap up with, I'm going to skip that story. Yeah.
You're looking for another question.
I'm fine. I'm here.
Okay, cool. I'm only using this so the people on Zoom can hear me because I'm too far away from the mic. Deep research mode is not considered a custom GPT.
No,
It's just a feature.
it's a
of the tool.
feature of all AI modes, all AI solutions at this point.
Okay. And then does that automatically cite your sources or that was a prompt that told it to?
Well, the prompt, usually deep research is good at citing sources.
Mhm.
It says I went through 14 sources or 85 websites. It usually quotes it all at the bottom or within the document itself.
And that's for all deep research that's done through that. Ugh, love that.
I mean, you should be doing deep research on your competitor agents you're walking into a listing appointment. What they do well, how you can position. There's a lot of applications for deep research. I just got confused looking at that clock. I said, am I 2 hours late or an hour late? It's 3:10. It's supposed to be 2:10. Sorry. That clock right there is 3:10.
Says 212.
Sorry. I didn't go that over. So scan that QR code. If you and what I would encourage you to do is spend 30 minutes, ideally a day if you can, to really learn and experiment with AI. That's the only way you get better. If you have 1 hour a week, start there. And then there's a follow me on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. There's a few links on that QR code that'll get you to one of the first links at the top is join my Instagram broadcast channel. So if you're, how many of you are on Instagram? Most of you? Okay. So join that channel because I post tips there and you can see all the previous tips there as well when you join the channel. So that'll be valuable and hopefully this was helpful in your journey of being AI skilled.
Thank you.